This is Coast TV, First Alert Meteorologist Chris Mastrobuono with this edition of Weather 101. And we are talking this week about bombogenesis. Yes, you may have heard the term before used, term used to describe various storms in the Atlantic and the Pacific. This is a unique situation that we have yet to see so far this winter. So basically what we have here is we have an area of low pressure over the warm Atlantic Ocean. Now this is usually a large area of low pressure. Now what happens is this is the large temperature gradient. We have the warm ocean, we have a cold Arctic air mass back off to the east. And typically what happens is we have rapid intensification. So what happens is that cold air is being funneled into the area of low pressure and we have a rapid drop in pressure, central pressure. So this is the central pressure of the storm. So say the central pressure of the storm is 1,000 millibars, and that drops to well below 900, well below 1,000 over the course of 24 hours. That would be in turn bombogenesis. And this can happen virtually any time between generally October through March. Typically we see it in the winter across the Atlantic. Now this is a scenario we have yet to see so far this winter. Most of the storms we've seen have come across the plains, the Ohio River Valley, and then exited the East Coast. They really haven't developed or kind of bombed out. That's kind of a term we've used and you may have heard before. So this usually results in very heavy precipitation, typically back off to the western side of the low pressure. Typically we see our widespread 1 to 2 feet snowfall amounts with this scenario. Winds in excess of 60, 70 miles an hour. Typically you get your blizzard warnings, your blizzards with this type of scenario. Typically you see it in the Northeast. You see it across Boston, you see it across portions of Rhode Island and the Northeast. For our neck of the woods, for us to get this scenario, we would need this storm to develop off the Carolinas and really bomb out for our part of the Delmarva to really get crushed. If you're a fan of heavy snow, if you're not a fan of heavy snow, you want to see this happen further to the north. But this is bombogenesis. Again, it's the rapid drop in pressure, central pressure of the storm. When you have a storm system with a lower pressure, typically indicates a stronger storm. And that is what you'll see there with the bombogenesis. And usually we get this generally in the winter, but we've seen storms in the Pacific Basin across portions of Alaska. You see in the Aleutians, you typically see those big storm systems develop and really bomb out, and you see the isobars there around the storm tighten up, and that's those stronger winds developing on the eastern and western side of the storm. But typically you'll see that heavy snow across the western flank of that area of low pressure once that storm really bombs out and develops. So hopefully that was a good explainer as far as what bombogenesis is. If you've never heard the term, I feel like a few people haven't heard the term. I said it just a few minutes ago and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. But so that is the term we use, bombing out. The storm bombs out. That's kind of a scientific term we use, but for layman's terms, the storm is intensifying, rapidly intensifying. That's the best way of putting it. So that was the latest edition of Weather 101. Hopefully that was clear and that explains everything for you. And hope you'll tune in for our next Weather 101 next Sunday.